city, as the mayor, the city council, this leadership team, and as civil servants for this city. We bless you now for your divine placement that you've allowed us to serve during this season and to, Lord, further build this community and bless the citizenry that you've placed in this space and in this time. Now, guide our study, guide our time tonight, our discussion. Help us to study our issues well so that we may rule with great jurisprudence and we may rule with great understanding. Give us grace, give us peace, and give us mercy to execute your will and your plan. Now let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our heart be acceptable in thy sight. O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. In the name of Christ Jesus we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Mr.
Please,
President,
before we go any further, Ms. Calhoun.
I would like to have a moment of silence also for our County Commission Chair, Mr. Elton Dean.
Very good.
Please join us. Thank you. Amen.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, need a motion on the May 17th work session.
Mr. President, move for approval.
All in favor, raise your hand.
4 with 2 abstentions.
Need a motion on the regular council minutes for the 17th of May.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
move for approval.
All in favor, raise your hand.
4 with 2 abstentions.
Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to say good evening to the council, good evening to everyone who is here in person and those that are watching virtually. Before I get into my report, which is going to be an abridged report, I'm grateful that Pro Tem asked us to have a moment of silence for County Commission Chairman Elton Dean. I certainly want to address his loss, but we have with us one of our colleagues, peers, and friends, Vice Chairman Doug Singleton, who is with us today. And I want to just yield as much time as needed to Vice Chairman Singleton to talk to us about Chairman Dean, his leadership, his longtime friendship with Doug, and what he's meant to the community. And then I will come back with a few comments. So, Vice Chairman Singleton, if you would please come up at this time.
This morning we got a pleasant surprise at our county commission meeting after the news that Chairman Dean had passed away around 7:30 this morning at Jackson Hospital. He passed away peacefully in his sleep. I was there with him up to probably about 5 minutes before he passed away, but he was surrounded by his family after a long extended illness. The pleasant surprise this morning was that Mayor Reed came and spoke to each of our county commissioners to offer his condolences on behalf of the city of Montgomery. I thought that was a class act to be there and do that. Mayor Reed talked about our partnership. One of the strongest things we have when we go out and recruit industry to Montgomery is our partnership between the city and the county. That makes a huge difference when a company's coming to look at locating in Montgomery, that we're all on the same page and that we're all working together. And I'm here today just to let y'all know on the city council that will not change, because Chairman Dean would not allow me to let that ever change. That's one thing he believed in, is working together with the city and the town of Pike Road and everybody else inside the jurisdiction of Montgomery County. Chairman Dean cared about all of Montgomery County. He represented District 2. But he cared about every end of it. Y'all have heard the 4 bedrooms. I'm not going to tell you that again tonight. But he truly did. And we had such a unique relationship. He was black, I'm white. He was Democrat, I was Republican. But that didn't matter. We did what we thought was best for Montgomery County. Very rarely you have a situation where 2 people are like that they truly love each other. And I'm not talking about love like you get off the phone and you say, I love you. No, this is looked me in the eye, I love you. 4 years straight. Every time I left Elton, Elton left me, looked at each other in the eye and said, I love you. So I want to tell you today that he will always be with us on the county commission, and his accomplishments, his wisdom on things. There's so many times when I had great ideas and I knew I was right, and he'd say, hold on, my white brother, you need to think about that. And I'd say, Elton, he said, trust me, my white brother. And fortunately, I would agree and go with his decision. And every time, he was always right. And I said this today on TV, you don't hear this very often, but he called me Great White Hope. I called him Black Magic. Now, if you heard that, and I told him all the time, we used to always joke, I said, Elton, people are going to hear that and they're going to think we're racist because they don't understand how much we loved each other. But we could get away with doing that. He always had my back. If you got 5 people in your life that you know without a doubt has your back, no matter what, you're truly blessed. And Elton Dean was one of those. So thank you again, Stephen. Thank y'all, City Council, for allowing me to come here and honor my brother. And I look forward to continuing that relationship that we have and strengthening it, because Elton would not have allowed it to be any other way. So thank y'all.
I want to thank Doug for those comments, and I know a lot of us that are elected have shared memories with Chairman Dean. I just want to say it's hard to come behind what Doug said, because there was a long personal relationship that existed there. You know, we have lost 2 members of this body in the last 2 years, and you know, to now lose another leader, another public servant in this community in such a short amount of time is just something I couldn't have imagined. You know, I think it calls for all of us to step up in a different way. Whenever you lose someone like a Richard Bollinger or Tracy Larkin or Chairman Dean, new people come in with new ideas, but we all have to try to work together for the benefit of this community. And for 7 years, I had the opportunity to work with Chairman Dean as the probate judge, and there were a lot of times, much like Doug said, he was a great counselor in terms of how to navigate those waters with the county commission, even as the probate judge. And he had been there since 2000, and had been there as a member, as a vice chairman, and then as a chairman, and worked with longtime county commission chairman Bill Joseph, who was chairman for 30 years. And so, you know, to become the first Black county commission chairman for Montgomery County, Alabama was no small feat for him at that time. And I thought there was a lot of guidance and a lot of wisdom that he shared in those 7 years working over at the county, learning a lot about the process, and even learning about some things that the county did with the city at that time. And so when we got over here to City Hall, I didn't right away know to bring the county in on as many things as they had done. And he got word to me that he wanted to know what was going on. And so he had worked with the last several mayors, and he wanted to work with me as well. And so I was glad to hear that. And so we started to have those monthly meetings, and you know, again, there would be some things and some ideas that I would share and I would have, and he'd kind of give me a history lesson. And he'd be able to take me back, Charlie, on some things that had happened in the 2000s and things that happened in the 2010s. And you know, there's a lot of value in that wisdom, a lot of value in that experience that not just the county commission loses, but the community loses. And I don't think we always appreciate that in the moment. But I can give you a lot of examples, but 2 since I've been mayor that I certainly want to highlight today. One is the education referendum. The education referendum does not happen without the county commission and the leadership of Elton Dean Sr. And the support of the county commission. I went to him with that when I was probate judge, couldn't quite get it off the ground then, and so when we got elected, I told him right after the election that we wanted to come back and we wanted to vote on it. I thought I had a real good idea. Now, my idea was more ambitious than where we ended up for the funding, and it was during those times we were going back and forth about how much the ad valorem increase was going to be, where again, I think that wisdom and that experience played a tremendous role in terms of how to build that consensus and how to, maybe moderate those goals and objectives we have for what we want to do for public schools. As a graduate of Carver High School, he was an advocate for public schools. He was an advocate for the West Side, and he shared with me some things that he thought could happen if we were to go forward. And he said, look, if you want to go forward, Mr. Mayor, you go forward, I'm going to be right there with you. I'm going to support you. And that was key for us to be able to push through some of the opposition that we had for that referendum, which we had not done in the city in well over 30 plus years. And so that's significant to have that type of leadership and that type of partnership, and someone that we knew over at the county would be supportive, because the city doesn't have any role in the education system, although everybody thinks that you all do, everybody thinks that I do as well. The county does play a big role in that. And so that was a major area of support. And the second thing that I want to highlight policy-wise was even what we're doing here today, and that's around the American Rescue Plan Act. He had sent me a text because I heard that I went to D.C. on something, and he said, look, you go to D.C. and get all the money you can. He said, I'll take care of things back here. And I said, Mr. Chairman, I don't know how long I'm going to be invited to D.C., but I said, as long as I'm invited, I'm going to try to go and make our case. And when the American Rescue Plan Act was passed and signed, he was the one that said, hey, we ought to do this together. He said, 80% of the county residents live in the city. We all represent the same folks. I got 3 city council members in my district, and he had all of that stuff down. He said, it doesn't make any sense for the county to do something and for the city to do something. He said, let's do it together. And we did that. And I don't think I would have thought to have done that. And, that was his initiative for us to come together and try to do it and try to work it out for the betterment of Montgomery. And I think that's what he was about. He was willing to play whatever role that he needed to play. If it was to be out front, it was out front. If it was to be supportive in the back, it was to be supportive in the back. And so I just want to highlight, his service and the many, many accomplishments that I'm sure we'll have time to highlight what he did with the county, the modernization of the county courthouse, the funding of the sheriff's new offices, the probate court being modernized and being upgraded, so many things in parks and recreation, so many initiatives that he led and supported, still pushing for that West Chase, even in one of our last conversations about that I-65 corridor and what we could do in West Montgomery with some federal dollars that we're going after. So I say this here because I think although he was the longtime county commissioner and longtime chairman of the county, his impact transcended that, and it transcended to impact this city, because the city that he loved is the city that he worked for, and it was a city that he wanted to see grow. And he didn't care who the mayor was. He had the same mindset and the same interests. And so I just want to share my condolences with the Dean family, those very close to the family, and everyone who knew him, that his presence is one that's not to be easily replaced. You don't just do that when you have the type of legacy that he has. And so we have a resolution here, much of which I've already covered, that is signed by myself and signed by all 9 council members. But I will just finish with the last whereas, and I won't go through all of the boards and the organizations that he supported, but I will just say that This proclamation from the office of the mayor comes with the full participation of all of our council members that are here, and we'll present that to the family. And just says, it concludes, whereas the city of Montgomery wishes to commemorate the life of Chairman Elton N. Dean Sr. and his legacy by this proclamation of the city of Montgomery in recognition of a shining example of a person who demonstrated how much he cared for his community by his continuous efforts to improve it. And now, therefore, on behalf of the city of Montgomery and its citizens, in recognition of Chairman Elton N. Dean Sr.'s contributions to our community, we do hereby express our deep appreciation for his service to our community and extend to his family our sincere sympathy upon his passing, in witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands on the 7th day of June, 2022. And it's signed by myself and all the members of the council. And I want to thank all the members of the council for doing that. And I would just ask that we all just give the Dean family a show of support and maybe a round of applause, let them know that we'll be there for them during this time. Thank you. I will segue just, again, this is going to be in the bridge version, so we won't do the executive summary. I'll take care of that at the next meeting if you all don't mind. But I do want to highlight two important issues, one in particular that I know Chairman Dean and I spoke about quite a bit, and that was the issue of gun violence prevention in our neighborhoods and what we could do and what we could support. And you'll notice that I'm wearing an orange tie and an orange ribbon, and that is because this is National Gun Violence Prevention Month, and I am part of an organization called Mayors Against Illegal Guns. And while it's separate from this, they run hand in hand to try to bring awareness to gun violence. The City Council hears those calls quite a bit with people talking about gunshots in their neighborhood. We just had a meeting earlier today with Chief Dean in the absence of Chief Darrell Albert, who's away at APOS training, talking about some gun violence we've had here in the community very recently, trying to get through some of the leads and some of the information, some of the background on it. But from coast to coast, thousands of Americans showed up in Orange June the 3rd through June the 5th to honor survivors and build community with others working to end gun violence. Some may ask, why Orange? Hadia Pendleton marched in President Obama's second inaugural parade. And 1 week later, this young girl was shot and killed on a playground in Chicago. And soon after this tragedy, Hadia's friends commemorated her life by wearing orange, the color hunters wear in the woods to protect themselves and others. Wear Orange is now observed every June in her memory. Thousands of people wear the color orange to honor Hadia and the more than 40,000 people who are killed with guns and approximately 85,000 who are shot and wounded each year. And that's why we wear orange, and that's why, as part of the United States Conference of Mayors, we're trying to bring more attention and awareness to gun violence. I believe that gun violence is a public health crisis in our cities. I think we have to treat it as such, and I think that we have to be willing to look at various approaches to addressing this issue, whether it be at the local, state, and federal level. And I want us to be very clear, because I think in this conversation, whether you're in Alabama or you're in Nevada or wherever this conversation is taking place, even in DC, people equate this with all guns. And what we're talking about are those automatic and semi-automatic rifles that our men and women in blue don't have the opportunity to utilize. We're talking about the trafficking of illegal guns in our communities through entities which we believe need more stringent guidelines. We aren't talking about the licensed gun owners, as I am, a gun owner of several in different parts of my house for a reason. So we aren't talking about that. We're talking about those who are trafficking and flooding communities with proliferation of guns that cause a 14-year-old kid to have a gun that he should not have and ending up shooting a 15-year-old kid just last week. We had to be more responsible. Just in the last 48 hours, a family juvenile accidentally shoots himself. That adult's going to have to be held accountable for that juvenile who is now at Children's Hospital in Birmingham. We've got to track these guns that are coming in and out of our community, and disproportionately too many of these guns are ending up in the hands of young black men. And I personally have an issue with that and seek to not only work with those entities that we have set up, but those who have been on the ground for a long time to get these guns out of the hands of young black men who are shooting other young black men at a higher rate than should be right here in our city, where over 90% of the victims and the perpetrators of gun violence are black. So we have to look at all this at every level that we're doing. Be having a conversation with our Parks and Recreation Director about things that we can do for community centers to give young people an outlet, but also to give people a refuge, a place they can come and talk about things without having to utilize, feel like they have to use a gun, which impacts not only the direct victim, but the indirect friends and family of those who are victimized. And so that's why we wear orange, and so we want to show our solidarity with organizations like this that are helping bring awareness to these issues that are happening in cities across this country. And we also wanted to make sure that we continue to highlight what some of our efforts are in this community around gun violence and what we want to do. So it's not just the prayer walks, as people say, well, why do you just do the prayer walks with the Office of Violence Prevention? There are policies that we are researching, there's legislation that we would like to see sponsored and introduced, and there are other initiatives that we are working on, along with what so many members of the community are doing each day out of their own time and their own dime to help us combat this issue and this epidemic. So I wanted to make sure that we highlighted that. And finally, we moved to Pride Month. And we certainly want to celebrate and recognize members of our LGBTQ plus community, and June being Pride Month for everyone. And when we think about this month, we think about an inclusive community, we think about a community that is diverse, that recognizes and sees all of our residents for who they are and respects and appreciates them and all the gifts that they bring. And so you'll see flags outside of City Hall. You'll see our fountain lit up each night in colors representative of the LGBTQ plus community. And as the birthplace of the civil rights movement, we must continue to carry the torch and ensure and enshrine that freedom and equality for all Americans truly extends to all Americans. And we are committed to doing that here in Montgomery, not just aesthetically, but also through initiatives and policies and programs to make sure that people understand that we are a community that is moving forward, that we are a city that embraces everyone regardless of who they may be, and that we are a city that is truly understanding of all the residents and all of the citizens that we have, and the protections that are needed, and the respect that they are due. And so we are happy to celebrate Pride Month with members of the LGBTQ plus community, and we look forward to some of those events coming up to recognize them and to recognize some of the progress that has been made, but some of the progress that we still must address moving forward as a city. So, Mr. President, with that, I want to thank you for giving me this time. There is also a resolution that we'll be presenting on behalf of the mayor as a proclamation recognizing LGBTQ Pride Month. But again, I think I've spoken to most of what is said here, so I won't read it again. But I want to thank the council for their work and their due diligence over these last few weeks to bring notices of attention areas that we need to fix and improve in our city to the office of the mayor as well as that of our entire administration. So thank you so much, and I'll turn the meeting back over to you.
Mayor, did you have anything to do with Dr. Roy and Roy Moore? Was that?
I think we.
I don't see her here.
We decided to
do it later.
Carry that over to the
Okay,
next
very
meeting.
good. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any special committee reports? Seeing none. special committee.
Did you want to talk about the blight? Did you want to talk about the blight? Mr. President, we do, for the Blight Review Committee that Councilman Mitchell does chair, we've been meeting as a committee. We missed the last meeting because we were waiting to get an attorney on board to represent us for as far as representation when we talk about representing the people. We had the realtors come out. We've had a huge showing of support for this Blight Review Committee. We've had, the Montgomery delegation has supported us. They've put forward some bills that we will have to reintroduce in February to create a Blight Review Committee that's just not an advisory committee, but that can make some recommendations and actually commit to some change. We're looking forward to presenting the council with a land bank authority pretty soon. We're working on that, but we need attorney representation. And I know that we have budgeted ourselves $100,000 to do that. And so I'm asking that the council support, if we haven't already, Councilor Mitchell, you let me know, but to support us and getting this attorney on board so that we can move forward with creating the ordinance and anything else that we need for representation for this Blight Review Committee, because we do appreciate Attorney Stacy, but they are swamped with other things that they need to take care of, whereas this is a priority for us and as regards to our districts and the city of Montgomery, and we've taken this task on and we'd like to complete it.
Yeah, because I think we have been in, how long have we been in that committee?
I think since December or if not before.
Yeah, and we're at the final stages, and we're this close to having that ordinance, and the only thing we need is.
Okay, all right, I got you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, I do want to ask, can I pull in the group that was here, Natasha Rogers, to come on and speak to us?
Okay, go ahead.
Ms. Rogers, you and your team, they are here, Mr. Mayor and Council, they are doing a play on June 11th, Grown Man Issues, and they have with them an R&B singer. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Escape, Latasha Scott, and this is the director?
Yes.
The director of the play.
Director.
He'll give us some more information, but we talk about entertainment and bringing it to downtown Montgomery. It has been happening, I thank Ms. Yvette for everything that she does with the Department of Cultural Affairs and the Chamber for the support that they have for us when we're doing things here in the city of Montgomery. But as we move forward, we want more of this to happen. And the only way we can do it is by bringing them forward, showing them the support. And so I would like to have them, I yield the floor to you, sir.
Well, thank you guys so much for having us here today. It's an honor. We're actually excited to be able to jump this tour off right here in Montgomery in this beautiful city. What's special about it is that a lot of times we think when we're dealing with grown folks' issues, we really don't tap into the men. But this play is going to tap into some real emotional things that will be very entertaining and exciting for all kind, but exactly for the men. So I just want to say we're excited to be here. And not only we have a hometown favorite that actually was the playwright and the director, and then we have one of the amazing superstars that's actually from this town that's actually playing in the play. So we're excited to share it with you guys. We welcome each and every one to come out to help us launch this play, this tour, Grown Man Issues, right here in this historical city. And just an honor to be here. And thank you so much, Councilman Johnson, for the invite, and Mayor Reed, thank you. And it's an honor to be here. And once again, God bless. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. First item.
Mr. President, item 1, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one parcel of land containing 125 acres more or less located at the northernmost end of Valley Brook Lane from an R65S district to an R50 district.
Tommy?
Mr. President, the Planning Commission unanimously recommended the rezoning of this property for single-family homes.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that's opposed to this item? Please come forward at this time. Seeing none, the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a vote? Need a motion?
Mr. President, move for approval.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 2, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one parcel of land containing 59.695 acres located on the south side of Hyundai Boulevard, 100 feet east of Mobile Highway from an Ag 1 district to an M3 district.
Mr. Hall, are you here? Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
Next item.
3, resolution to allocate American Rescue Plan Act funds under the Montgomery Thrive Initiative.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I know it's been discussion about a carryover. We carried this item over 3 weeks ago. We hadn't had anything. It's a resolution, I think, that's letting the citizens know what we're planning on doing with the ARPA funds here in Montgomery. I hadn't heard any talk back over the last 3 weeks about any concerns about what we discussed. I pulled my Montgomery Thrive book from our meeting on April the 25th. All the items that's on this resolution, take it, it is a resolution that's saying what we want to put out to the citizens, what we have came up as a group, a body between Montgomery County and the city of Montgomery, saying this is what our plans are with the ARPA funds. And I just don't see where we should carry over a resolution for another 2 weeks before we call for a vote. So I ask for the question if we're going to carry it over.
Okay, I need a motion to,
Need a motion for approval?
or a motion to carry over. Motion to approval?
Motion to approval.
Have a motion to approval. All in favor, raise your hand.
3,
All opposed, same sign.
going to be 5. Motion, it fails.
Carried over.
Thank you for the vote.
Item
Okay.
4, resolution placing a 60-day moratorium on new applications for event and or entertainment venues and currently licensed event venues.
Mitchell.
To close at 12.
Council, I have been working with Revenue on these event centers for the last 6 months. We've been going back and forward. I think Councilman Calhoun had some issues with the times, and we went back and adjusted the times. And I'm just giving us 60 days so we can look at what we need to do moving forward. So all I'm asking for 60 days on those event centers. Those with license, liquor license close at 2. Those with non-liquor license close at 12.
Okay.
Need to make a motion to adopt. and then
Motion to
substitute.
adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. Is this
Now
the-
1 to substitute.
Substitute.
Yeah, you got a substitute here. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah,
Motion to
adopt.
substitute.
Motion to substitute.
Motion to substitute.
Motion to substitute. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Now motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Done.
Resolution is adopted as substituted. Item 5, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Circle K at 10231 Chantilly Parkway.
Representative Circle K here, please. Yes, ma'am, you here? You were not here last week. Did we have a public hearing? I was not.
Yes, sir. You had
A public
to
hearing.
have a public
So
hearing.
now we need a motion.
I need her name.
Your name for the record, please.
Latasha Washington.
Okay, Ms. Watkins. Are you just a worker, are you one of the managers there or whatever?
Well, actually, I'm the market manager for maybe 10 of the stores.
Okay. All right, okay, I'm okay with it.
Mr. President, move for adoption.
Have a motion to adopt, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with business.
Item 6, ordinance granting permission to Wanrack LLC the right to install, maintain, and operate transmission cable on the right-of-ways of the city of Montgomery.
Need a motion to adopt this item. Motion to suspend the rules.
Mr. President, Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move for adoption.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 7, ordinance directing Mayor Reed to execute easement to Alabama Power Company for the purpose of constructing and maintaining power lines and equipment for Fire Station Number 16.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Mr.
Move to
President,
suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 8, ordinance amending ordinance number 26-2019, regulating the operation of bike share providers within Montgomery to add 2 additional locations.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 9, review of Sherwood Apartments at 4921 Hatton Avenue.
Okay. Representative Sherwood Apartments here, please. Your name for the record, please.
My name is Lisa Martin Poor. I'm the senior regional manager.
Get close to the microphone, please.
My name is Lisa Martin Poor. I'm the senior regional manager for Sherwood, and I have Edward Smart. He is our security director, and then I also have Mary Tucker, who's our senior manager for the Montgomery properties.
Okay.
Hi, we had you come down today. I'm sorry, can you hear me? Is this mic off?
Yes, I'm now.
Okay, we had you to come down today. I have received numerous of calls about that piece of property, those apartments out there. We appreciate what you offer to the people out there, and we appreciate what you do, but there's an issue. The complaints, I don't know if you had a chance to see the police report that we had pulled on this, on your property. Did you see that
Yes,
report,
I did.
all of those calls? That's 234 calls in 1 year. That's a lot of calls. And so it's a problem. The people who live on the outside of the apartment, I think, are the biggest complainers because they're nervous. They're afraid. They don't want to come out there and cause a problem because they're concerned with retaliation. But then they say music blares all night long sometimes. I don't know if you're the security out there. I'm not sure if someone's there after hours or not with your security team. But that's a complaint I've definitely had. They complain about the traffic. They fly through that stop sign. I rode out there one morning to look, and the amount of litter I saw on the ground and the upkeep of the apartment complex itself was horrible. And so I asked that our abatement department would go, our coding department would go out there, and what they told me was that the property maintenance guy said they don't clean up before the weekend, or no, they don't cut the grass on Monday anymore because every Monday morning trash is all over the ground, just like they have a party on a regular basis on the weekend out there, and he have to pick up trash first before he can cut grass. So he can't cut grass till Wednesday because he got to kind of clean up after the parties over the weekend. And if you see that type of debris and trash on the ground, then we know it's a problem in the community, because no one should have a party like that you throwing trash or whatever. And it looked more like somebody just walked out their house with something in their hand and threw it down on the ground. That's what it looked like to me, more than just a party. But yeah, there was some beer cans and bottles and stuff like that. But I'm just concerned about that. When was the last time you were on the property?
Well, I was there today.
That was the first time you've been there in how long?
Probably maybe 7 weeks.
7 weeks? Okay, so you've seen what it looked like.
Yes, I did. The grass was cut. There was no trash on the property except for around the first dumpster as you enter the property and the very last dumpster, except for 2 ice cream bags. But we pick up the ground every day. And I know that Lawn Care has said something about Monday mornings. But Monday mornings after a weekend would be a normal time where it'd be heavier with litter for us to pick up. So rescheduling him to Wednesday works well.
Talk
for
into
him.
your microphone, I'm sorry.
Did you hear all that, or?
I was, most
Okay.
part, I think I heard.
Each property would have more trash on Monday mornings than normal, but we pick up the grounds each day. To relocate, to reschedule lawn care to come on Wednesday instead of Monday morning works well for them and for us, because there's extra litter on the property, because maintenance doesn't work on Saturdays and Sundays, except for emergency phone calls. I'm going to let Ed address the items that we're working on with the changes in security since your notice. When I walked today, I noticed about 4 dryer vents off and 2 lights that need to be repaired, and maybe 20 front doors that needed to be painted, but I didn't see an issue other than that for it to look bad on the exterior.
Well, then we also, since you mentioned it, I also received multiple calls from tenants who, I guess someone told them that if they call the rent office and no one fixed the issue, they can call the city and we'll come out. And so I had our housing to investigate, and we had 8 calls from the first of the year to now, saying whether it was a refrigerator, saying the AC not working, whatever it is, that it was just a long period of time that they were not getting resolutions with whatever issues they were having in their homes. Now, there were about 3 or 4 of those calls, 3 or 4 additional calls that I got that I just called and spoke with someone in the department and asked them to check with you, but I'm even concerned about that. Because it just becomes a lot when I get a lot of people. I had one young lady that called me that said that she had 10 different residents that wanted to all call me up and tell me about their complaints, and I just told her I could not take 10 complaints. So I told her to 311 them all. I'm quite sure she didn't get everybody to 311, but just the fact that they wanted to get me on the phone and have this long conversation with all the things, whether it was someone said one time their door wasn't properly closing in their home, but I know that there was something that when Mr. Hodge went out and spoke with the property manager, y'all tried to relocate the young lady, and I think she kind of didn't want to relocate because there was an issue with her door or something like that. But then AC units out, the refrigerator not working for months, and these are families with children who are saying, I can't even buy milk and keep it in my refrigerator for my children because I don't have a refrigerator. I'm going to the store every day. It's costing me too much money. I can't survive like this. And so those are just, it's just so many concerns for me that there is an issue out there, especially even with the MPD calls. That's an issue out there as well. So I appreciate that the outside may have looked passable when you went out there, but there are some issues inside that apartment complex, and I just really need you to pay attention to that. I need there to be some kind of response, even if it's you sending them letters, because then that's something you have in black and white to say, we got your call about your complaint, we're working on it. This is what, instead of them saying you haven't done anything and then it's your word against their word that you got it and you're working on it. Because it just seems to be this issue, and it's just, I don't get calls from apartment complex in West Montgomery like that, but Sherwood, I get all the calls about Sherwood. I think that's the only apartment complex I've received calls to this magnitude about, and it's just a concern for me, especially when it's a safety issue. But I would like to hear what your security has to say about any upgrades we're doing there, and I would like to, let me hear what you have to say and then see if our major has anything he wants to share with you as well about that security issues.
All right, so, you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, so probably about maybe a week or 2 ago, we just hired 688 to do roving patrol out there 7 days a week between the hours of 7 and 4 o'clock in the morning. We also got with 688 in regards to doing dedicated officer patrols, boots on ground from 5 to 1. So we're trying to double up on security to get them out there. That's in the works. We tried in the past, I'm not sure if y'all familiar, but there's not a whole lot of security companies here in Montgomery. Believe me, I searched and I called a few around, and some wouldn't even come out there to the area that we need them to come out to. So it's hard to hire security out in the areas that we need it for Montgomery, because a lot of security companies the few of the security companies that's here, they are having staffing issues. We did have a security company out prior, but then they started running into a staffing problems where people just quitting. And it was constantly trying to get officers to come and work, and then they'll quit. So we had a huge staffing issues out there. And then we just replaced that company with 1688.
Okay, and you said you did it 2 weeks ago?
Probably about a week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay. And when have they started?
I'm sorry?
Have they started?
Yes, they have.
Okay. And that's 7 days a week, or is that just Monday through Friday?
7 days a week, correct. So this is for a vehicle patrol, and then we're looking to do a dedicated patrol out there as well.
Okay.
With the same company.
Okay. Major Rucker, what you think?
The only issue we have right now, as far as the Montgomery Police Department is concerned, if you look at the sheet that I gave you, if you look at the dates of all these calls, our officers are responding to more than 20 to 30 calls a month in the same place. If not every day, almost every other day. We've gotten complaints of open drug sales, open drug use. We've gotten complaints of subjects walking around with AR-15s in broad daylight, and we still get those.
So that's an issue. Do you have security cameras?
No, not currently, no.
Are you getting security cameras?
We are looking at the flock system, and I would love to sit down with, Major
Rucker.
Say again?
Rucker.
Rucker. I would love to sit down with Major Rucker, and we could, see what's really digging deep and come up with a good plan that we both could partner together and see what we could do with Sherwood.
How many properties do you own in Montgomery? I noticed that you mentioned your Montgomery properties as if there were multiple properties in Montgomery.
There's three.
3, which one? What are the other 2?
Rosa Parks Place.
Microphone.
Rosa Parks Place?
Rosa Parks Place and Heritage View.
Rosa Parks Place is the senior home, is that?
Yes.
Okay, and then where's the other one?
What's the address for your property?
My mind just went blank. Let's see, that one right here. My mind went blank. 1401 Aaron Street.
What is it?
1401 Aaron Street.
Aaron Street.
Regarding the work orders for the residents, we have 2 different methods of them letting us know that they need something handled, whether that's call or come into the office. But maybe a year and a half ago, we implemented something called Resident Cafe and provided all the residents with their code to log in. That way they can go in and enter their own work order, follow up on that work order, review their ledger, contact maintenance through that site, contact the manager through that site. They're also regularly given a notice to remind them of that system, and that if they don't feel that their complaint or concern, whether it's maintenance or any other concern, has been handled by on-site, we provide the corporate office number and then my email as well. And that's on a pretty regular basis.
Are you local in Montgomery?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you say you're looking to get flock cameras?
Right. We're looking into the flock camera system.
Now, flock cameras only deal with capturing license plates. I'm not sure if that's sufficient for somebody walking around with what kind of gun was that again, Major?
AR-15.
How is that going to impact it? Because I feel like I understand a camera. To get a camera system, then we can kind of identify which houses or which apartments because people out there with somebody, they ain't just popping up saying, oh, I just want to come out here and terrorize this community. They have somebody they either live out there or they're visiting or something. And if you can identify where it's coming from, then maybe it's easier to try and weed that out. But flock cameras, I'm not familiar that and it may be something additional or some new flock cameras. I'm not sure. I'm not a flock expert, but they just capture license plates.
Audrey,
Yeah.
why don't we just?
If you're gonna do cameras, you need to talk to our Star Watch at the police department. And tie into the Star Watch, tie into the police department, and get the right cameras, then you've got the police know what's going on at your place. There won't be any question. You'll have it done properly. So if you talk to Major Rooker, I mean, that's what you need to do with your cameras. That'll give you total control from the police department. There won't be any questions. Okay?
And one more question, since you mentioned that you have the Rosa Parks Place, and I know you're not here about them, but I got a call from a young lady that is disabled. She lives on the second floor. She's starting chemo. Elevator's been out for 3 months over there. Have y'all fixed the elevators?
No, the contract, the elevators are getting completely retrofitted. The parts that were needed to replace, they don't make anymore, and they were unable to locate anything to repair it. And when we got the quote, they let us know that it would be 20 weeks from the time that they ordered it until completion of the project. One of the things that we've done is we work with the residents to make sure that we order items through Walmart so it's delivered. We've picked up things from them, from the grocery store, prescription shop, and then whenever we have a first floor unit, anyone that is having a hard time on the second or third floor, we're transferring them down.
So, but you're saying maybe about another month? Because she says it's been 3 months, so how many weeks did you say, 20?
20 weeks.
That's 5 months. So we were
That
about
is
another
absolutely ridiculous. That's the best they could do is a complete retrofit of the system.
That's not unusual. For an elevator?
Yes, it's the elevator retrofit.
Yeah.
Councilor Graham.
Yeah, that's
I just have one question. Like Major Rucker, I counted 42 times to this one apartment from January 1st to May the 15th, this one apartment. What's going on with that one apartment? Why haven't they been evicted out of that? I mean, 42 calls in a 5-month period.
Could you share what apartment?
I want to say it. I can let you look at
the report. Did you get a copy of the report?
You can come. I got a check. You can come.
She
You
just
see
got
where
the
my check
summary.
marks?
She did not get the full report. She just got the summary.
Are we allowed to give her this?
Yes, ma'am, I believe we are.
Okay.
No.
No. Oh.
Major
No.
Rucker says no. But
No.
what I did was just put a summary.
You saw the address? I won't show it to you. I'll write it down for you.
Mr. President.
Didn't that come in handy? What, he's been give you the address right here.
Mr. Calhoun?
Major Rucker, and I understand why we might not be allowed to give her this report, but how would they know they have an issue at this particular property if they don't have the reports on the calls for services for this property?
If they're interested in pulling a report, they can do a request to the city clerk's
Okay,
office.
all right. So you guys can pull that report because this is ridiculous.
That
And,
one
and you don't
apartment.
know, so you allow this one property to terrorize your whole business.
And the
because
houses behind it.
You're not being proactive.
Councilman Calhoun, if I may say something else. During the course of this time, I know I've talked about the things that's happening. Previous, probably about the middle of April and end of April, we did formulate a detail and did active patrols and did watches out there. It slowed the problem down. The residents, the neighborhood noticed it. But once we pulled out the neighborhood, it started right back up again. And we're having to respond right back.
And I appreciate you guys doing that, but that's the responsibility of the property owner to do those type things to keep their residents safe. That's not you guys' job.
Yes, sir.
You know, we can help and assist, in my opinion, but that's their particular, that's your property. You know, so you're here today based on whether you can keep your license on the show cause hearing. So you need to address some of these issues that Ms. Graham and they're bringing up about these properties that's on here.
I will look into this, but I do need the council to know that this is a project-based Section 8 HUD property, and HUD requires that we use convictions in our determination for housing, not arrests. So although we have some residents who might have been arrested for some items, we're not allowed to even view those. We can't even pull up a criminal history on that. Only convictions.
What-
So, I'm sorry, sometimes we have to wait until the actual conviction occurs before we can take action, and we run criminal background screenings at each annual for that reason.
Now, I have an appointee on the Housing Authority Board, and when I spoke with her about a tenant who had a Section 8 voucher, they were not in an apartment, they was in a house, and the community had complained, they were able to address that tenant because of the behavior. So I think when you have this many police calls, and he said that you can request a copy of that report, I think there's some privilege and some leeway in there for you to say they're terrorizing my community. I would rather not have them in my apartment complex than to get the money that you're giving. Because I don't think they allow them to just come and terrorize somebody if they don't get convicted. I don't think that's quite that way. Now, if you're going to use that as a basis for termination, then maybe that's different. But to be able to say, I got a police report because the city of Montgomery called me down, and I got one, and this address had 20, how many calls you said you counted? 42 calls. I think that's the issue, and I don't think they'll have any problem with pulling them. So I think you would be okay with that. I think you just need to go through the process of getting a police report. You said she needs to make contact with who, Major, on that one?
Miss Blaylock can advise her.
Ms. Blaylock?
She'll do a request, we have the form online, she can do a request for records, and Nancy will get it for her.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, because I don't, you don't have to be subject to that. I'm for certain that's not so. Listen, I appreciate you coming. I really do, both of you and your manager back there. In 30 days, can you come back in 30 days and tell us where we are on this? Is that enough time for you to have some stuff implemented, to look into maybe some security system, whether that's just the security guards that you're going to have, or even the camera system or whatever it is that you feel like is going to help better secure that property? Is 30 days enough time for you?
It is.
Okay, and I just want to see that we're trying. And I appreciate you doing that. We're going to do it as a show cause, Ms. Blaylock, just in case we get stagnated. I don't want to revoke your license. That's not even what I want to do, but I don't want our people living in those conditions. You know, I want them to be safe. I want them to know that someone's concerned about their safety. I don't want to have to, as Councillor Calhoun said, our MPD, we don't want them out there every day, all day, in order to have some safety in a community. We need you to step up to the plate. And so that's what we're asking today, that you step up to the plate, provide some safety for them, and respond to those calls some way or another. You know, whatever it is they need to do or you need to do, let's respond to the calls. I know you may not have the stuff to get it done right away, but I think we can do a little better than what we're doing. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you.
Item 10, review of Sunrise extended stay at 5601.
Get a representative of Sunrise Extended Stay. Yes, sir. Your name for the record, sir?
Kunal Shashula. I'm a president for the Paragon Hotel for Sunrise Extended Stay.
Okay. I've got two people who want to speak. Jimmy Gunn, you'd like to speak about this item? Mr. Gunn, come forward. Got Mr. Gunn here as the president of the Homeowners Association in Woodmere. He'd like to speak. And then I will speak.
Mayor Reed, President Jenwright,
Pull the mic around, Mr. Gunn.
members of the council, I appreciate you allowing me, and also, when I finish, I'd like a few minutes for another resident, McKenna Bates, to speak. I've lived in Woodmere for 44 years. I was a second occupant, third house in that neighborhood. And I've seen a lot of changes through the years, as all neighborhoods go through. We have over 870 residents in Woodmere. We're the center of Montgomery, or actually the museum is the center of Montgomery. We have a 33-acre pond And we also have the Montgomery Museum of Arts, we have the Shakespeare Theater, and we have the Hannah Rilling Dog Park. One of the entrances to the Blunt Cultural Park is off of Woodmere Boulevard. The other one is on Vaughn Road. But a lot of people that come in from out of town on buses, tour buses or what, they actually go down Carmichael Road and turn on to Woodmere and go over into the park, okay? We're here tonight to talk about Sunrise. I don't know how many times I've been by Sunrise because I go to work every morning on Carmichael and I go home every afternoon on Carmichael. But I can't tell you the number of times that I've gone by there. And there's police presence at that facility. The last time I went by there, and this never made the news, but SWAT team, MPD, county sheriffs possibly, I don't know, it looked like a reunion of police officers there. SWAT gear, AR-15s, handcuffed individuals on the ground. I had my little grandson in there, 7. And he, you know, naturally he's going to slow down. And he's asking what's going on. If you've been in the Carmichael Eastern Boulevard lately, you'll probably be shocked at the amount of trash, debris, homeless, wandering people, prostitutes that frequent that area. Now, exactly what does that say to visitors coming in off of the interstate into Montgomery? Thursday of last week, going to work at 6:15 in the morning, I look over at Sunrise, and there's a homeless man spread out at the entrance there by the plants and the ferns and the green grass. All his gear spread out all over the place, sleeping. Now, what kind of management allows things like that to go on their property? I don't know how many police calls that's been out there in the last year. I know Councilman Jenneright's probably got that, and the chief of police has got that, but it's got to be numerous. Now, Sunrise has been warned and had plenty of time to correct all of these issues. When Red Roof went away and they came in and started operating and it declined, had a swimming pool, didn't even have water in it. So what is that inviting to a family that wants to spend a weekend in Montgomery and go over to Shakespeare, maybe walk in Woodmere Park? No, it is not. Prostitution in that area, at 12 o'clock today, there's a prostitute, she's new in town, she stopped and went across when she came here 2 weeks ago, over to the motel over there. She was walking between traffic today, waving at people, one of his tenants, I suppose. Sunrise is not a family-oriented motel. It's ruining that area of Montgomery. And there's been shootings, and I think possibly a murder. But I know there's been shootings, and there's been a lot of drug activity in that area. It is time for this business to be shut down. And now I'm going to ask, if it's okay, President Jenright,
Yeah, please.
for McKenna to come up and give some real-world information.
I just wanted to say how much drug activity is going on over there. It's scary for our children. It's scary for my children. They do not feel safe walking the streets, going to the park. I don't feel safe for my child to go outside without me, and she's a teenager. They walk the streets, they push their buggies, they go to and from the hotel to the Raceway gas station. I personally went to school with a guy that OD'd there within the last year, and he died. So I know that there is a lot of drug activity going on there. And we're just scared, honestly.
Very good. Okay, well, thank you for your information. Sir, let me get close to the mic. Let me just say this. Major Hall, I've got all these numbers in front of me. 25 calls in the last month. 25 days, 25 calls. We can't afford your business in Montgomery. Unless you clean it up, we're going to do exactly what the homeowners say. We're going to close you down. I'll have you back here in 30 days for show calls to show me that you're going to clean it up and stop having all these calls, because if we're going to have a war zone out there, you got to go away. We can't afford you. I mean, the number of calls we got coming to your restaurant, to your hotel, you can't make enough money to pay the city's taxes that we have for all our police officers. So we want you to clean it up, period. And so
Yes, Mr. President.
I'll have you back in 30 days for show calls.
Yes.
And if you've cleaned it up, we'll be okay. If you haven't,
Yes.
your license will be pulled. Okay?
Mr. President. And can I say something, sir?
Sir?
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
So we've been in the business from lately last November. So we just bought this place, and we didn't know how we're getting into this one, right? So we have the general manager before, and that's where we found a lot of issues. And since then, she tried to call police and everyone, and that's where the very first SWAT team and everyone that came on the property. Since then, we have this one security company, and we found like, okay, it's just a brand new security company with the two men in that company, and that was not working out well. So recently, we just have since last month, the global security company, which is the licensed one, and that's what we hired it. And 3 weeks back only, we have changed the hours from evening 6 to morning 4. So like that's what we are extending now, and we are working on that completely. We have a list of do not rent people completely. We are putting on that one right now, and we already started up. Like if you notice, since January, what I have been started looking into this property, we have started reducing the lot of numbers of the trespassers, the homeless people. What we are looking at the property over the tickets. What I have seen, I have not seen the property. We own the business in Georgia, we own business in South Carolina. We know we are working on that, but I'm ready to do anything what this make place,
Okay.
the
You
better.
got 30 days, show us some improvements, come back in 30 days, let's see. Now, did you say how long have you owned the property?
Since last November, so we are about from almost 6 to 7 months.
Okay, well, you've had it through you have 90 calls since January the 1st, 25
Yes.
in the last month.
Yes,
So
that's
we
what
got a
it is.
problem.
Yes, we started looking at that one, and that's what the manager started
Okay,
calling,
well,
and we changed the managers all
You
staff.
got 30
and all.
days to find a way to clean it up.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ask you a question. Did you buy the property sight unseen?
I'm sorry?
Did you buy the property sight unseen? I think you said that you didn't know what you were buying. Did you say that?
we know that, but we just look at the property in a day or two. we cannot figure it out, like what's going on over the last period, right? So we just look at that 2 days and look at the numbers and all. That's how we buy the property.
And can I ask the county a question, Miss Betty? And I know that some of these hotels we've had issues with as far as taxes, that some of these people are paying in cash. Did I remember this when we were talking about this maybe 3 or 4 months ago? Ma'am, nobody can hear you.
Can't hear you, baby.
I can tell you only what I remember because I'm not in the revenue division. There was someone that came in wanting to pay some fines and whatever, and I don't think they came to you all, but it was at the fire department, and they had to go to the bank because we were not going to take that cash like that.
Okay.
So I don't know if anything relates to any of the apartments.
Okay.
In that regard.
That was a club,
Not apartment.
an overcrowding
hotel.
issue at a club.
Ma'am, sir?
That was an overcrowding issue at a club.
Yeah,
They
I
had
thought
to
there
pay
was
the fire
something
department.
to do with long-term stay versus short-term stay and how people paid their taxes and business licenses. Did I dream that? Okay. All right. Mr. Jenwright, one more thing. I think the biggest issue that Mr. Gunn talked about is who is hiring security companies to work at a hotel in Montgomery? If you've got to hire security officers for your hotels anywhere, I don't give a dang if you're on the west, east, north, you got a problem. Period.
Well, that's the bottom line.
And all those places on Carmichael, let's just be honest, should be down here as well.
Get one at a time, and then we'll go one at a time.
All right.
All right. 30 days, be back here, show them what you do, okay?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 11, application.
Major Hall, do you have anything to add? We got it? Okay.
Item 11, application for a special events retail liquor license doing business is 4th of July Blues Bash at 355 Coosa Street.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marcia. Marcia, you had something you want?
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you. Brenda, we're gonna, Miss Latasha Scott is in. She was traveling in. She came in to speak about the play, and they just wanted to take a photo with us and the mayor prior to Mr. Roscoe Miller, if we could knock it out.
Are they all out? Are they outside? Or Let's Rodney get.
Let's go ahead.
Let's go ahead. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this application, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing has been held for the council. Need a motion?
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with the bid, Roscoe.
Thank you.
Item 12, application for retail beer and retail table
All
wine
right.
off premises.
Hold up now. We want to do the picture.
photo?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Before we get to the next item, we got an interruption here.
Yeah, I can come
Ms.
up.
Johnson, get them in here. Let's do it.
Say chief. Mm-hmm.
Please come make a picture. That's it. There you go. It's a reset. Reset. Okay, that's quick. Let them wait.
Which one?
We're gonna do gum time first. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good luck to you. Okay, next item.
Item 12, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Meat City at 15 West Fairview Avenue.
Yes, sir. Your name for the record, please.
My name is Chow Yi Chong.
Okay, Mr. Chong.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please go forward.
No, sir.
Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held as proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
That-
Resolution.
Let me
listen,
finish, sir.
Thank you for what you do up there. Thank you. Thank you. It looks good. I don't know if y'all been up on Fairview and checked it out, but it looks good. It's clean. I love it. Thank you.
And I want to add that he started in North Montgomery on Ripley Street.
Okay.
And now he's down there next to what used to be the Dollar General on Lower Temple Road, and his second location on Fairview.
Yes.
So congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Have a good one.
New grocery store.
Item 13, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as MAPCO at 800 Northeastern Boulevard.
Any representatives of MAPCO? Your name for the record, please.
Christina Teal.
Ms. Hill. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held as proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
A motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business.
Thank you.
Item 14, application for an alternative transportation service, doing business as Real Marketing, Inc. at 445 Dexter Avenue.
Mr. McDowell. Your name for the record, sir?
Mark McDowell.
Okay. Mr. McDowell, what kind of this, alternative transportation, who are you going to transport?
I'm a for-hire service vehicle. I already am minority-owned business here in the state of Alabama. I would like to procure a city contract here in Montgomery as well as in the county. I'm from New York originally, moved here about 7 months ago with the intention of doing business here in Montgomery as well as buying a house and so forth.
Okay. Anybody got a question?
Ms. Rogers is,
Is it medical transport or is it just anybody? Limousine?
excuse me?
Is it limousines or medical transport?
It's for-hire vehicle. It's, I would say a for-hire vehicle service.
Hire business person?
Yeah, for-hire vehicle service on,
Uber, okay.
So-
All right, Uber. All right. Anybody else got any questions? Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution
Good
is
luck with your
adopted.
business, sir.
Mr. President.
thank you, council.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for the remaining agenda.
I need to read number 15 first, please, sir.
Okay, yes.
Resolution concurring in the reappointment of Mary Wheeler to the Joint Public Charity Hospital Board.
Now, Mr. President, motion to suspend the rules for the remaining agenda.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Okay.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 16, resolution concurring in the appointment of Mary Green McIntyre to the Joint Public Charity Hospital Board.
President, move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 17, resolution appointing Lydia Pickett to the Montgomery Area Mental Health Authority.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 18, resolution designating nuisance abatement agent.
Mr. President,
Need a motion to adopt?
move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay.
19, appeal of demolition cost of an unsafe structure at 4062 Oak Street by Bob Fine.
Mr. Fine here. Mr. Fine. Guess he's not here.
Mr. President, move to uphold.
I think you need to deny the appeal.
Huh? What?
Motion to deny.
Wait, hold on. Is this in District, ain't this in District 4 on Oak Street? What we said, Mr. Fine is not here.
He's not here.
Miss Fine, Mr. Fine, Bob, Mr. Fine. Can we carry this over? Let me carry this over.
Will of the council, let's go.
You gonna carry it over?
Yeah, I want to carry it over. I want to give them a chance. It's about tearing down this house. All right.
Okay.
Okay, number 20.
Number 20 has been
Withdrawn.
withdrawn and will be presented later. Item 21, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed locations.
Need a motion to uphold?
Motion to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Just a second.
22.
Item 22, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various
It's
lots.
just the one we asked to anybody want.
Anybody, I don't have anybody here signed up to speak on 22.
Actually, the one we withdrew is the one that you have to ask. Actually, the one that we withdrew, number 20, is the one that we have to ask if anybody's here on that.
Okay, all right. Okay, need a motion to adopt number 22?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous, resolution is adopted.
Okay, what else you got on your desk there, Madam Clerk?
Mr. President,
Mr. Lyons.
Yes, I
has
got a resolution appointing, make an appointment.
Okay,
Resolution reappointing Renee Casillas to the Parks and Recreation Board.
motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous,
Motion adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
unanimous, resolution is adopted. And I have contingency funds. Do you need something that
I can wait, I can
after
wait.
that one? I only have one request, Mr. Mayor, and I need your approval on this one. It's from District 2 for $2,500 to Dalrata Neighborhood Association.
Okay, all right, need a motion to adopt. Yeah, you want something?
Oh, yeah.
What you want?
District 1?
Hey, we need to do a call. Do I want to give some money?
I just wanted, I need a motion to adopt that.
Motion
I
adopt.
was just wanting to see if anybody else was going to make a
Oh,
motion.
yeah.
Yes,
Anybody else want to?
yes.
What you looking for?
From District 3, I want to do the ASU Sky Camp Summer Program, so it'll be the ASU Foundation in regards to programming the Sky Camp Summer Program. I want to give $1,500 to them.
Okay,
I also want to give $1,400 to the Sheridan Heights Community Center, and that's for a trip to the water park. The same for Highland Gardens Community Center,
hold on just a second. 1,400 to who?
Sheridan Heights Community Center, and Highland Gardens Community Center.
Highland Gardens?
Yes, ma'am. And that's for a trip to the water park.
Gardens Community Center for Water Park. Okay, anything else?
I have one more, Miss Brenda, but I think somebody else wants to say something while I look at the name of the program.
Brenda got the Distinguished Young Women, $500, $2,500.
Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Distinguished young women,
Yes, ma'am.
how much?
500.
Okay.
2,500 to Town Lake.
Neighborhood Association?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That it?
Yes, ma'am, I think so.
Mr. Lyons, you got
District
more?
2, I'd like to do an additional 1,000 to the Homeview Family Medical Center, Homeview Family Center.
Homeview Medical Center?
I think it's the Homeview Family,
Where do you get all the money from?
Center.
Are they set up as a family?
They are, I've contributed to them before, I can't remember the full name of the,
Homeview Holistic
That's it.
Community Family Health Center?
yes.
Where's that?
They're on there. Okay, is that it? Mr. Mayor, you okay with
No,
this?
no, no. I have what Ms. Blaylock,
Oh, okay. Okay,
$1,000 to Woodcrest Neighborhood Association.
okay,
And that's it.
that's it, okay.
Maybe Mr. Fine, I don't know.
Mr. Fine? Bob Fine? Are you Bob Fine?
You need to vote on this before we go further.
Okay, let's vote.
Motion to suspend the rules?
Just a motion to adopt.
Motion to
Motion to
adopt.
adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay.
And that's all
All
I
right,
have.
Mr. President, I have something.
You do?
Yeah. Ms. Blaylock, I'd like to call Kingston Apartments on Narrow Lane Road.
Just a second. Kingston Apartments, Narrow Lane Road.
Yes, ma'am. For show cause.
Okay, we'll have to do a resolution first, setting the show cause.
Okay,
And
but
you'll
resolution-
have to give me the reasons.
Okay.
You can get those to me later, but,
All right, gotcha.
okay. But I'll have that resolution ready for the next one, okay?
Condemnation.
Okay?
That it?
All right, we got two people.
No, I want no more.
Good? Okay, got two people. J.W. Bradbury. J.W. Bradbury, speak on the bus terminal. J.W. Bradbury. Must not be
I
here.
think you met with Robert.
Earlene Wright. Is Wright here?
I don't see her today.
She's not here. Okay. Anybody got anything else? That's
Mr.
all we
President,
have. Yes, sir.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir. Sir, could you need something? I can't hear you. Come to the mic. Let me hear you.